What happened to Mickey Moniak? A lot of people around baseball have been asking themselves this same question. Moniak was a former first overall pick of the Philadelphia Phillies back in the 2016 draft. But since then, we haven't heard too much about him. This year, he's pretty much been bouncing up and down between AAA and the majors. But before we hop into his lengthy minor league and short major league career, let's look at Moniak before he got drafted. Obviously, as I said before, Moniak was the #1 pick back in 2016, and he was drafted out of La Costa Canyon High School in California. And in high school, Moniak did indeed end up playing 4 years of varsity ball. In his freshman season, he played in only 12 games, but he did hit .304. But his sophomore year was when he really blew up. Now, his power numbers were not great as he only hit 2 home runs in 33 games, but in those games, he did hit .461. And after Moniak's sophomore season was when the scouts really started to notice him, and scouts from all across America were showing up to his high school games. At this point, the spotlight was on Moniak, and he did not disappoint. In his junior year, he hit .426. And as a senior with all the eyes on him, he hit .476 in 29 games. So it was clear that this guy could perform under the pressure, and he was a clear-cut top prospect in all of America. Now this brings us to the 2016 MLB draft, where the Phillies were on the clock with the #1 overall pick. And at the time, it was clear the Phillies needed some help as they were in the middle of a 71-91 season. And the Phillies saw Moniak as the perfect fit. Now, there were other guys that were in the conversation for the #1 overall pick, like Nick Senzel and Ian Anderson. But all along, many people around baseball were speculating that Moniak would just be the perfect fit for Philadelphia and they really wouldn't go anywhere else. And those rumors ended up being true as Moniak was selected by the Phillies first overall. And Moniak was immediately reported to rookie ball as an 18-year-old where he hit .284 in 46 games. And this ended up being the best that Moniak would ever hit in his minor league career. The following year in 2017, Moniak reported to A ball where he ended up hitting only .236. He did have a little bit of a bounce back season in 2018 as he played in A+ ball and hit .270 in 114 games. Now, Moniak only hit 5 home runs this season, and he was really never known as a power hitter, so this wasn't much of an issue, but the batting average was something that was a bit worrisome at this point. Now, a .270 average isn't all that bad, but the Phillies were expecting much more from their #1 overall pick at this point. The following year, in 2019, Moniak ended up getting promoted to AA, where he played in 119 games, and he did have 11 home runs, but he only hit .252. Now, this would be the last action Moniak would get in the minor leagues before getting called up to the Phillies to make his major league debut as a 22-year-old. And unfortunately, he didn't get too much of an opportunity here as he only played in 8 games and had 14 total at-bats, where he ended up hitting .214. Now, this year in 2021, Moniak started out the year with AAA. And in 66 games, Moniak hit .258, where he had 12 home runs and drove in 53. Now, this led to another promotion to the big leagues, but again, it was not too much of a sample size. He only has 26 at-bats this year, but he has hit an awful .115. And fast forward to the present day, at this point, Moniak was optioned to AAA, and he is currently playing down in AAA as we stand right now. And at this point, Moniak's simply just been up and down between AAA and the big leagues. Now, it's a tough question to answer when you ask yourself whether Moniak will be up in the big leagues sooner rather than later. Now, it is a very small sample size, but Moniak in 40 career MLB at-bats has a mere .150 batting average and a .502 OPS. And obviously, I'm sure the Phillies are not too happy with his performance so far, but the guy is only 23 years old and he has a long way to go. So all in all, in my opinion, yes, the Phillies are probably disappointed with what Moniak has given them so far. Being the #1 overall pick 5 years ago, the Phillies, I'm sure, were expecting this guy to be playing every day in the major leagues, producing at a very high level. But you really can't knock this guy because as we stand today, he's still only 23 years old. He has a long road ahead of him and he has plenty of time to figure things out. But there is some added pressure on him when you look at the guys that were drafted after him. You have Corbin Burns, Shane Bieber, Zach Gallen, Brian Reynolds, Bo Bichette, Pete Alonso, and Will Smith, just to name a few. So yeah, there's some pressure on this guy at this point, but I think down the road, I think he's just going to be okay. I don't think he's going to be necessarily ever living up to the #1 overall pick hype, but I don't think you can really call him a bust at this point. He's only 23 years old, like I said, and down the road, I think he will figure things out a little bit and become a major league player, but not the player we were expecting him to be when he was drafted first overall. So yes, Mickey Moniak has been very disappointing up to this point, but he has plenty of time to figure things out. So that's going to wrap the video up today. Let me know what you guys think down below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.